Hi, AT from CNC at Home. I found a project that I want to do at the Boxes website. I will put a link to this particular box in the description, so take a look for that. It's down in the miscellaneous boxes. We scroll down here a little bit, we'll find this one called Dice Tower. And I want to use the default for all the finger joints, so I'll just leave that alone. I do need to make a couple changes that I found will work best for what I want to do. Actual size of the tower, I think this is fine. It's not too big, not too small, so we'll leave that alone. I'm using a 3mm thick material. I'm going to make this out of MDF instead of plywood. SVG is the format that I'll want the file. I don't want labels. This is what I'm talking about. Let me just generate this real quickly. That's this down here where it says 100mm burn point. It's like, that's just for scale. Don't need that. I will want to make a few slight setting changes here. Let's first turn this off. I did lie. Up here on the Dice Tower settings, where it says bottom, we don't want that bottom piece. We look at the picture, it's basically what goes on the very bottom here. Really not needed. This particular deflector will hold everything together down at the bottom. So I think we should be good there. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off so we don't generate that piece. The other change I want to make is down here for the corners. I don't want it to do a loop. For this particular one, I just want it to be a plain old corner, just squared off corner. And then the burn correction, I'm going to set to 0. If I made this a little bit bigger, it will make a tighter fit. And it literally says that here, bigger values for a tighter fit. These will be a little bit loose, but I'm going to glue it together, and then I don't have to worry about banging and pounding like I've done with other boxes just to get things to fit together. This should be all I need. Let's take a quick look at it. The finished product will look something like this. I'm going to do something with it, though. You'll see. Let's generate this. Okay. Get rid of this again. Thought I had that turned off. I do have that turned off. Why is it there? Oh, I turned the wrong one off. This is labeling the parts. That's what I want. It's another setting. Where is it? There it is. Right in front of my face. It's this reference. That's the one I want turned off. The labels I do want so I can get an idea what's front, back, side, that sort of thing. I won't burn those, but it just helps keep track of stuff. Now let's take a look at it. That's what we want. So we've got the two different sides. We've got the back, we've got the front, and then we have the ramps or the deflectors. That's all we need. That's good. I'll go ahead and download this, and then we can open it up in LightBurn. In LightBurn, this is how it opens up. Let's just change a couple things real quickly. I want to turn everything to line for now. We will not be outputting the name, so I'll go ahead and shut that off now so I don't forget. But this is basically what it's going to look like. I have some graphics that I want to put on here, and to get everything to line up the way I want, I need to move these pieces around. The sides can be where they are, sort of, except they're kind of backwards. So I need to move some stuff around. I'll go ahead and select this. I'll move it up out of the way for now, doesn't matter where. Grab these two pieces. Grab this piece. Bear with me while I move some stuff around. A new feature within LightBurn is to actually show what type of selection you're doing. In LightBurn, when you select from the left to the right, you'll notice we have a red square. And the only things that get selected are objects that are 100% inside of that rectangle. So if I select this, I should only get one thing selected. And didn't even get that. Was it not in my rectangle? No, it wasn't, because this whole object is grouped together. So the whole object wasn't in my rectangle, therefore it doesn't get selected. But if I come down like this, I'll get just this side. When you select from the right to the left, you'll notice the box is green, and this will select any object that's partially in your selection area. So that's just something to keep in mind, and it's a new visual so you can see what you're doing, which way you're selecting. That's a new feature. I believe that came in 1.7, so relatively new. I also want to have this piece. This is the front piece. I want it aligned with the top for reasons I will get to. We'll get that aligned to the top, and then we have our other side. So let's grab that. We'll want that over here. We'll want to align that to the top of this whole thing as well. And then the back. Doesn't really matter, I guess, but we'll just get that aligned. Have everything aligned on the top, so everything is all set there. What I want to do is I want to put an image. I want to put an image of a face or a dragon on here. And the reason for that, this is the mouth where the dice come out. You drop it in the top, and it'll go through this side deflector, then this one, and then the big one, which is here, or they call them in a ramp, and then they'll roll out. What I want to do is have a picture of a dragon where the mouth is this opening. Let me grab that image. Let's go to the art library and bring that up. So we go into our dragons. Yeah, let's see, where is it? Here it is. We've used this dragon before. Bring it on here. A little bit big. To be able to see everything properly, I'm going to put that up at the top of my list. Everything else is on top of it. So I'll want to size this down just a little bit so that it fits the way I want. So basically I want the mouth kind of like that. So the mouth ends right here at the end of this front piece. And then this part of the mouth won't get printed. But I do want to print the rest of that mouth, and I want to print it on this ramp that'll be inside of here. So when you look straight onto this, you'll kind of see the whole dragon. You'll see this part of the face, and then if you look in, we'll see some of this. It'll be slanted back, a little askew, but it'll still look kind of cool. So we'll want to bring this piece over here, and we'll zoom in on that so we can see that a little bit better. Let's get that to align properly. Hold on a second. Let's just not show the dragon for a second. So I want this to align on the right side of that. Okay, got it pretty close. We zoom in here. I also want to move this up so it's nice and tight. If I do nothing, it moves, I believe, 5 millimeters at a time. If I hold control, it moves 1 millimeter. And if I hold the control and the shift, then it moves small amounts. I want those two basically butted up against each other. It doesn't need to be exact. So the intent is going to be something like this. This is going to take a lot of extra space that I don't want, so I'm going to lose this area down here and this area down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my image, right-click it, and say duplicate. All right, let's see if we can select. I got to turn that image off real quickly here. I want to select this piece. Turn my image back on. I'm going to hold the control key, hit select, so I have both of those. And I'm going to go ahead and just quickly group those together and move them off to the side for now. I'll get back to those later. Actually, I can go ahead and do them now. What I want to do is take this piece, and I have to ungroup it for what I want to do. I'm also going to have to ungroup this. I don't need the word ramp. It won't do what I need it to. Put that on. So we'll select the image. Turn that off real quickly. Do a control select here. Turn this back on. And I can right click and I want to use apply mask. What will happen then is only what part of that image is behind my front ramp will be burned. That way I don't have to burn all this extra stuff. I can get just this part of the mouth. Okay, so that looks really good. Let's go ahead and I'm going to just get those name back on there and group this together. Okay, and then this, we'll get all this arranged properly later. I'm just going to set it there for now. Over here, if we zoom in just a little bit, I want the dragon on the front piece. I thought it'd be really cool to have it wrap around the sides as well. What I'm going to need to do is change the gap so that there is no gap, essentially. If I zoom in here, let's turn this off. For some reason, why are you so much higher? I thought I aligned these already. Get those aligned on the top. There we go. And then we can go ahead and move this over. Boom, lined up, super nice. And then we'll do the same thing over here. We'll get this piece, we'll slide it over until it's right about on top of that. Doesn't need to be exact. This should work for now. Okay, this piece, we could do the same thing. Why not? We'll see how that saves us a little bit of burning time. That moved over. Okay. We can turn our image back on. So now we have these pieces all butted up against each other. And the reason I did that is I can have the laser come down and burn this as one thing instead of having to burn it twice. So it'll save some time. We'll wait until later when I show you how I optimize this, how that's going to work. These pieces, we'll wait a second on those. I'm still looking at this image. When we burn it, it's going to burn the whole thing. And we really don't need to burn all of this that's down here because there's no wood there that we're going to need. And that's going to be wasted time. But what I want to do is I want to do a mask. Unfortunately, I cannot select multiple items to be the mask. It has to be one thing. So I'm going to make a new mask. I'm going to make a rectangle. I'll just have that rectangle start on this line, come down to be on top of that line. I'm going to put it on a construction layer. It doesn't really matter how wide it is for our mask. So anyway, that'll get rid of the stuff that's down here on the bottom and the little tiny bit that's sticking above the top. The other thing I want to do is I want to get rid of this part out here. So I need to add another rectangle. Make sure we're still selected here. We'll zoom in so we can see this. When I get close to that corner, I'll go ahead and click there. And when I come down to this corner, I'll let go. And we can turn everything else off so we can see our mask and our image. What I want to do is I need to join these two rectangles together. I'll select the big one, and then I'll do a Control Shift, select the little one, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to weld them. Nope, I don't want to weld them. I need to subtract these from each other. Did I not get it selected? Hang on. All right, so what I want to do is select this main thing, do Shift Select on the small rectangle, and then I want to subtract it. Now we have this shape. If I turn on my image again, this will work well as a mask. If I pick my image, Shift Select my mask area, and then apply that. Okay, now we can see how it's not doing any of the mouth, anything that's outside of that. This will save us a ton of time when we're doing the burn. Go ahead and just turn everything back on so we can see what's going on here. So this all looks good. That should do exactly what we need. This is basically what we want to burn. Let's do some optimizing on this. For the image, we go to our material under MDF, burn, fill, image. We want to assign that to our image. And then to our exterior borders, we want our 3mm cut through. We'll assign that. The blue is also going to be a cut through. And just to make sure that happens first, I'm going to move it up. Doesn't need to be quite that high. First thing we'll do is the images. Then we'll do the blue, which is the interior cuts. Then the last thing that we do will be the black lines, which is our exterior profiles of all the pieces. Now let's do a quick preview. All right, it's saying 1 minute and 49 seconds to burn everything. We can improve on this greatly. So that's basically, we'll call it an hour and 50 minutes. Let's make some changes. The first thing I want to do is fix how it's burning or etching our image. It's basically scanning left and right. It's using 0 degree on that. If I change this to 90, make that one change. I'll also make sure that we're doing individual shapes so that we're not jumping back and forth between two shapes. What this will do is it will scan vertically, and since there's nothing to burn down here, it'll skip this area. Take a quick look at the preview and see what our savings is. We were at 149, now we're at 132. So that's a savings of, what, 17? Just by changing the direction that it burns these images. That's a huge savings right there. But there's more that we can save. So now we're at basically just over an hour and a half. One thing that we can do is come into our option settings for optimizing. And down at the bottom of the list, we have an option called Remove Overlapping Lines. Remember, we put these pieces very close together so that these finger joints were essentially in the same spot. By turning this on, instead of burning these fingers for each piece, it'll only burn it once. Before we do that, let's take a look at how it currently burns that in our preview. Let's speed this up a little bit as we go. We see it's burning this shape, doing the external edge. And it's going to do it 3 times. There's the second time around. And it's doing the entire part. Number 3. When it does this next part, you'll notice it goes up the side and then comes down the middle. It's not supposed to do that. Oh no, it is supposed to do that because we haven't turned this on yet. So it's burning in the middle here. It's burning all of this again. We don't need to burn that again. So that's wasted time. So it's going to come over here. It's going to come down, come over here, and doing these fingers again. Those are already burned because we butted those pieces up to each other. When we come in to our optimization settings and we turn Remove Overlapping Lines on, and we can set how far away they are to be considered overlapping. I'll use the default. Let's go back in to our preview and see what it says. So we've gone from 1:32 to 1:27. Okay, 5 more minutes that we've taken off. Right, so that's what, 22 minutes that we're saving so far. And we can see that when it burns, we'll just back our timeline up here. And so it's doing the outside edge. That's one pass. We're on the second pass, third pass. Now when it's doing this, it goes and it stops and it comes back. So it doesn't repeat the burning here. That's where we're getting our savings. So we've saved ourselves 22 minutes on this. We're about at an hour and a half for burning this whole thing. This looks really good. What I do want to do is I want to add a few more graphics on here. I want to put some images on the back. I'll put some little images on the side. I won't bore you with that. Let's go ahead. I'll do that. Well, let's look at see how this burns on the laser. before I really do anything with these as far as assembly or too much handling, I'm getting a spray clear coat, clear lacquer on here. What that'll help is reducing getting the char from the edges where it's burned. It gets on your fingers, and then when you handle the pieces, it gets on the surfaces. I don't care so much on the back side, but on the front where I've etched, I really don't want to have a bunch of black sooty stuff on here. All I'm doing is putting on a light coat. This MDF tends to absorb any liquid that you put on it. So I've got a single coat on here, and that seems to be pretty dry now. So I'm going to go ahead and put a second coat on, and hopefully that will help keep these clean and promote cleaning. So when I do get a little bit of gunk on there, I'll be able to get that cleaned off fairly easily. And then over time, just handling this and using it, this will help protect my etch so it won't get too gunky or whatnot. Again, should help with cleaning. I really don't need to do this inside one. Nobody's going to ever see that. That's the baffle inside the tower that nobody's going to see. This one, hopefully they will see. This one, they hopefully will see where it says, "Feed me, Seymour." All right, we'll let this second coat dry, and then we can start the assembly process. With all of the pieces coated in the clear lacquer finish, the next step was to get it glued together. Once it was all glued together, we have a finished product. Let's take a closer look at how everything turned out. We've got the front image that wraps around the sides. Let's take a close look at that. We have all these other dragons that I put around it. We have our "Feed Me Seymour" up in the top. And I want to see if I can get a good camera shot of how this mouth turned out. Let's get the camera into a better place with some good lighting and take a closer look at this dice box. The front turned out really nicely, as expected. If we look at how these lines come around, it does a really good job of kind of selling the whole illusion that the dragon's wrapping around here. You follow the lines, everything matches up nicely. So that turned out really well. Got these little dragon guys on here. Here's a nice little dragon with a 20-sided dice, on 20 of course. On the other side, we have some more little dragons up here with a dice that says 20. Got a bigger dragon and a little dragon down here. So those are just decorations, as everything is, I suppose. On the back, we've got this nice oriental dragon on here, and this dragon coming out of the clouds. They all turned out really nicely. On the inside here, we've got the "Feed Me Seymour." I don't know if that really is going to come through well or not. This is going to be the trick, is to kind of look in here and see if we can see how this turned out. There, that's not so bad. Let's get zoomed in. There we go. So this is the dragon's mouth. You can see inside of here, this goes back in, and you can see the bottom of his mouth. So if we tip this back, you can see that's the edge of the ramp. So if you look straight on, you kind of see the whole mouth. That ended up turning out about as well as I thought it might. It gives the illusion that there's a full mouth in there. The next question, I guess, is how well does this work as a dice box? Let's run some dice through it and see how it does. We'll take our dice box and open it up and see if we can run some dice through here. Look at all these dice. We'll start with just some real basic, simple things. A couple six-sided dice. Wow, they came out real nicely. A little too fast. How about something bigger? How about, or more oddly shaped? Here's an 8-sided dice. Yeah, that worked well. Here's a 10-sided dice. Yep, those are going through just fine. A 12-sided. Yep, that came through. Here's another 10-sided. Now for the big guns, let's do two 20-sided dice. Oh yeah, not a problem. They both came through easily. So that works well as a dice box roller thingy. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like the content of our channel, think about subscribing, as that really helps us out. And enjoy doing your CNC at home projects. Oops. So it looks like we can just take handfuls of dice and run them through here if we wanted to. Just get a whole bunch. I'm going to turn it just a little bit so they're not coming off the side of my desk. Yep, those came through, not a problem. How about some more? Just get the rest of these through there. All right, here's a whole bunch more. We'll just dump them in really quickly. Yeah, no clogging up at all. Oh man, good luck trying to find all these now. Yeah, we can see the mouth here through the top.